Greetings all. Welcome back to the Green Garden Guy Show. This one is the lava versus COVID versus Hurricane Douglas gardening show. First annual. Well, may not be a second one, don't know. Anywho, as y'all well aware, the lava has stopped over here some time ago. And so we haven't been bothered by any of that. But then shortly afterwards, the worldwide virus pandemic showed up. And, well, we really haven't been bothered very much by any of that either, unless you want to, accept the idea that we're not making much money over here anymore with the tourists going. That's been the biggest impact, has been the dollar and cents. And then all of a sudden, heading in from Eastern Pacific in Mexico, we get Hurricane Douglas. He's no real big deal. It's a Category 1, and at the very moment, it is actually directly north of me. It's just over the top of the big island, heading into Maui at the moment. Now, from here, you wouldn't know anything was going on, hardly at all, as far as the weather, because the wind speed's low, 2 to 5 miles an hour or so. It's you can see I'm casting a shadow. We got some sunshine. It's partly cloudy here, haze. It looks like I'm imagining sooner or later the clouds will get thicker and we'll start to get rain. But there hasn't been a drop of rain either. So I'm sitting right next door to a hurricane at the moment. There ain't no wind speed. It's not raining and the sun's out. Talk about dodging a bullet. I don't think Maui's going to be as lucky. And it looks like Kauai, poor Kauai, they're anticipating the storm is going to make a direct hit at about midnight to 1:30 in the morning. Oh man, they ain't going to be sleeping much tonight over there, that's for sure. But over here, we did set records today, weather-wise, but not what I expected. Check this out. What you see there is the highest temperature ever recorded on this property in the town of Mountain View. It's never been that warm before. It's ridiculous. We're here up the side of the mountain above 1,600 feet. This is generally considered cool, moist elevation. But this morning the humidity is down, lower than I've ever seen it. Which 50%, like that's a big deal when when the humidity reaches 50% here. That's really low. But the temperature, the previous high that we recorded had been in 2016, and it was 92 degrees. That was another rare one. I hadn't seen anything above 89 prior to that. But this one cracked it by 5 degrees, 97 degrees. Never. I couldn't even have imagined it could ever get that hot here. It's still fairly pleasant. I'm enjoying myself. It's not bad, but I've certainly, for some reason, when Chicago hits 97, it feels far more oppressive. I guess because there's a little bit of breeze and maybe a little bit of cloud or something here, whatever. Doesn't feel too bad. So I can't complain about it, but I've never seen anything like it. I got a new one to mark down in the books. 97 degrees. Real temperature. I mean, if you look at the feels like, that's bogus, but feels like is ridiculous because of our humidity. I think it's like 116 or something crazy like that. It doesn't feel like 116 here. No. I've been at 116 before in Needles and in Phoenix, and it doesn't feel like this, so... Yeah, I gotta admit, maybe I'm just getting old. but the weather forecasts on the TV with the talking heads these days, the local guys here still do mercury readings, okay? But any weather I get from mainland TV stations, all of that national stuff, it's all feels like. There's no such thing as accurate reading. Well, like I'm saying, my thermometer said it felt like 116 here today. That's BS. That doesn't mean anything because it did not feel like 116 to begin with. And, it's standing on the south side of a building, it's going to feel one way, or on the north side, it's going to feel another way, and so on. So that whole thing where they've gone with the weather to feels like instead of accurate mercury readings is, I find it objectionable. But then again, my stepfather was a meteorologist for United Airlines for years, I couldn't ask Ed a simple question like, hey, what do you think the weather's like today? Without Ed going, well, let's see. Oh, we got a low approaching from the west. Barometric pressure is dropping, blah, 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 blah. Rotations counterclockwise. I believe, let's see, there's a high atmospheric haze. We're getting stratocirrus clouds. I suspect by 3 o'clock it'll be raining, That's the kind of answers to dumb questions about weather I used to get from my stepfather. People tell me today that I seem to be better at understanding weather than most people they've ever met. I suppose that's probably why. Well, it's steaming up over there. I'm looking up over my head, and it's looking steamier all the time. It just doesn't look like rain, though. Gosh, this is really something else. They're going to get clubbed. I can feel it right now. The temperature just went up again. This is nuts. I think maybe what's happening is that because the hurricane is coming from the east, from Mexico. It's moving west towards Asia. It's crossing over the top of the islands, and it's kind of paralleling the state here. These lows rotate counterclockwise, and so I think what's happening is because it's directly above us right now that it's probably pulling warm air from the dry sides of the islands, generally the hotter sides, and sweeping it up around this side because the humidity dropped and the temperature's rising. I really can't think of anything else that had caused this, because there's nowhere else around here you could find any warm air. Trust me, we're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and whereas the Pacific is heating and we are having effects from global warming all over the planet this year, Siberia's thawing out, Antarctica's melting, and so on, and the Pacific Ocean is as hot as we have ever seen it. But that's a little too warm. So I do believe the rest of the state is busy putting boards over the windows right now. Ellen was in town. She said they were stocking up for water and stuff like that. I think everybody's got enough toilet paper. We don't need any more of that stuff. But they are preparing for a disaster, especially in the western part of the islands. It's really aiming at them. Oahu could get hit hard. It's possible. We'll find out later on today. Probably by, 3 to 5 o'clock, we'll have a better idea what's happening over there. But as far as over here, we just dodged a bullet again. It's weird, When we moved from California, I told Ellen, I can feel it. There's something dark coming. This is not going to be good. It's a good thing that we're leaving the state, because I can just feel that times are going to turn and it's not going to be what we remembered here. And sure enough, between the awful fires they've been having, but then they get hit by the COVID, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. All those folks need is a real good earthquake, and it can always happen. There's no rules that say you can't have wildfires, pandemics, and earthquakes at the same time. It can happen. Let's hope it doesn't. The pandemic hit the planet, and it was spreading all over the place. Of course, they locked us down, and then Big Island is, Oahu really gets the biggest traffic load, all right, and then Hilo gets the lightest traffic load on this island. Kona usually is where most of the tourists are coming in. We don't even get a direct flight in here anymore, and so we haven't seen much of it. There's been almost nothing around here. We're going through the motions, acting like there's a pandemic, but it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's, the only time we'll really need this practice is if they ever open the islands back up to tourism. Then we're going to worry. In the meantime, there's nothing going on here. It's peaceful. We had the lava there a while back, a couple of times. Of course, if you live down Leilani or by Pahoa, you were going to experience this, but that is something I already knew long before I ever purchased property here, that I didn't want to live in that area because it was dangerous. And so we, dodged the bullet. I watched Jimmy's house go under 50 foot of lava, watched Greg's farm get buried in lava. Well, we just sat up at the dining room table and watched the show. We've been dodging almost everything, and in this case, we're also dodging a hurricane again. The Big Island typically dodges hurricanes. It's almost mysterious when you look at NOAA's maps. I remember before moving here, Ellen was worried about, well, we have to worry about hurricanes if we live in Hawaii. So, well, I don't know, let's check and see. So we went to National Oceanic and Atmospheric and checked their maps, and we saw all the data of all recorded hurricanes that had ever come towards Hawaii. Mysteriously, you watch the track of every one of them as they're coming in from the east. They turn and either go north of the island or south of the island. They don't come into the islands. The reason for that probably isn't as magical as it looks, although it depends on how you see the world. It's mostly to do with the fact that the Big Island is the largest mountain on the planet if you measure it from seafloor. I think 36,000 feet. We're in the middle of the ocean, and the seafloor is an abrupt drop-off from the bottom of this island. It's deep, and that water is cold down there. We don't have any nice shallow seas around us, like Florida does and stuff. No, we have this island plunges to the bottom, and hurricanes get chilled. They get near the island, they get cold, they shudder, and they start moving towards warmer water. Now, I could say that this island definitely belongs to Pele, who is the volcano goddess. She's in charge of lava and stuff like that. And I figure she don't like water spirits coming too close to the island. But however you want to look at it, it all works out. We don't really see hurricanes here. Now, if the water keeps heating, Big Island might start to see more of this too, because it was just not long ago that we did have one come in as a tropical storm down in South Point. That it almost made it as a hurricane. Almost. Not quite, though. And so I think it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter in the water. They may move closer and closer to the island. That's the biggest problem. The water's too cool. So that's our safety valve. That is why the Big Island is relatively immune from devastating hurricanes. And we do get wind, we get rain. Rain is the biggest issue with hurricanes here on this island. Hurricane Lane should have been called Hurricane Rain because, oh my goodness. I think the official here in Mountain View, in the period of time, it was a few days that it took Lane to move by the island, they got 52 inches of rain at the official station here. My station, which is accurate, it's computer generated and all that, but it only measured, I believe, about 35 inches maybe of rain during that same event, which is plenty. 3 feet of rain, lots and lots of rain. So, well, anyway, folks, there you have it. If the lava don't get you and you survive the virus, well, there's always hurricanes, and after that, you live in Florida, there's alligators in the streets. Aloha, they're in the sewers in New York. Thanks for watching.